The interview that you're about to watch next describes detailed information about domestic violence and abuse and violence. I do just need to warn you that some of the material contained within the interview may be distressing to some of the viewers. Now, in this country, we often speak about law and order, but one of the most horrendous crimes that we experience in our society is the crime of domestic violence. To put some context around this for you, ladies and gents, 1 in 4 women will experience domestic violence in their lifetime, and men, 1 in about 6 or 7 men will also experience domestic violence. And actually, 2 women a week are killed by current or former partners. This is an absolute cancer on society. It's something that has absolutely affected my life as well as the lives of many other women that I know. One of the most horrendous cases of domestic abuse that I certainly have ever heard in all of my life is that of the story of a lady called Tina Nash. Now, Tina joins me now. Tina, good evening to you. Firstly, it is an absolute honour and a privilege to talk to you. I find you an incredibly inspirational lady. I'm very well aware of your story. Now, if you wouldn't mind, Tina, would you just, for any viewers that have not followed your story or perhaps not aware of it, can you just explain to people your story, your former partner, a man called Shane Jenkin? Explain to the viewers, if you will, the background behind what happened to you.
Basically, I met Shane Jenkin back in 2009, and I went down to the Barn nightclub with my sister, and basically I'd got chatting to him, and my sister said like he seemed like a really nice fella, like he'd sorted his life out, because we'd knew him 10 years previously from a brief encounter but didn't really know anything about this man. So when I met him down the Barn nightclub, that's when our relationship started. Basically, he was very, very sweet to me for the first, I'd say 4 or 5 months. Extremely nice to me. I never ever knew that this man had previous towards any other women at all. So when he first turned on me, I started seeing little first glimpses around about New Year's Eve when we went out to a pulled up party, and he turned on me on that night and started spitting on me and calling me all sorts of horrendous things. But he hadn't actually beat me up until the April, I think it was April the 16th, 2010. The final attack happened April the 21st, 2011.
So April, and let's just explain to people. So was Shane Jenkin a man that you loved? Did you love this man?
I fell in love with him, yes I did.
And you were unaware that he had a previous history, like you say. He'd served quite a lengthy prison sentence for giving somebody previously brain damage by stamping on them. But he'd explained to you that it wasn't really him and that he was the fall guy for his friend, and you believed that.
I did believe it. He said to me that he took the blame. There was another man that was with him, but he took the blame. He didn't want to be, in his words, a grass, so he took the full blame. And that's why he got sentenced to 4.5 years for giving a man brain damage for stamping on his head. And
so you loved this man, you believed this man, you wanted to see the good in him, you believed his story.
I fell in love with him. It was 3 months before we even turned around and told each other that we loved each other. That's why I thought it was real love.
Yeah, because, you took your time.
Yeah, because other previous relationships that I've ever been in, people have always turned around and said to me that they loved me straight away, which I never believed, because I thought you can't love someone straight away. Whereas with Shane, it was different. It was 3 months before we told each other we loved each other, and that's what was different for me. And I really fell for him. I've never really been in love properly until I met him.
Aww.
Yeah.
So then let's talk about that fateful night and what happened to you at the hands of the man that you've just told us you loved and that you felt safe with and that you believed was the man for you. Talk us through that horrendous night. What happened?
Well, I was outside chatting with my new next door neighbours, because the back door of my house is on the side of my house. So the side of my house is on, basically I can see the back of their garden. So we was out there chatting with my next door neighbours, and I went upstairs to go and use the toilet, and as I'm going for a wee, I could hear him talking to the neighbours next door, offering his prescription medication. And I thought, oh, for God's sake, I've only just got the social services out of my life. He's just come out of prison. He told me everything's going to be okay and everything's going to be normal. I'm going to get the social services back in my life again because of this. So I quickly ran down the stairs. And as I've gone into the kitchen, he's already in the kitchen cupboard pulling out his medication. So I quickly, he's a big tall guy. He's like 6'4". I'm only 5'4". So he's quite taller than me. And as he's reached up, I've kind of managed to reach up and quickly grab him out of his hands and looked at him, and I went like that with my face, like, because I didn't want to talk because the back door was open and I didn't want to hear like the neighbours hearing me having an argument with him. So I just quickly shook my head like that, as if thinking that he'd realised what I meant. And he snatched him out of my hands, gave me the most filthy look, and went like that in my face. So I turned around and I was like, I said, F you. And I turned around on my heel and I went upstairs, through my front room, back upstairs. These are my final visions as well. Through my front room, back up the stairs, and I jumped into my bed with my clothes on. And I remember turning to the left like that to me, where I could see the light coming through the doorway. And then I just turned on my right side and I thought, bugger you. And that's the last thing I remember. And the next thing, I woke up and I wasn't laying the way that I should be with my pillows behind me. I was laying across the bed with my legs hanging off the bed, and I was wrapped up in my duvet and I didn't know what was going on. And I was making all these weird gargling noises, like guttural noises coming from my throat. And there was really weird noises. I've never made noises like that before in my life. I didn't know what it was. I now know that was the death chant, but at the time I did not know that. And next thing you know, I had hands through the duvet start strangling me, and I couldn't protect myself because I was wrapped up in the duvet where my arms were beside my side as well. I couldn't breathe. There was no air coming in. I didn't know I was blind. I didn't know he'd beaten me up. I didn't know anything. All I knew was he strangled me, and I don't know why. He knocked me unconscious. When I came back round, the room was really quiet, and I was still making all those weird guttural noises in the back of my throat. I didn't know what was going on. Still didn't know I was blind. And then after, I felt like I was in the room then for about 10-15 minutes on my own, because it just felt like a long time. And then I felt the hands come through the duvet again and start strangling me again and knock me unconscious. And then I come back round, and then the third time, still making all the weird noises and everything. Still didn't know I was blind, still wrapped up in the duvet. And the room was quiet again. I didn't know what was going on. I couldn't scream for help because I didn't have a voice. That's the thing. I couldn't scream. I didn't know what was going on. I couldn't even scream out for help. And then next thing you know, his hands around my throat again, strangling me. And this time I knew that he was attacking me, and I could feel my legs stretching really out far. And then next thing you know, I opened my eyes and I was somewhere completely different. I actually thought I was outside on my trampoline sunbathing. I could see black underneath me, and I looked up and the sky looked like white with really like blue and pale pink colours in it, and everything had a golden shimmer to it. And all of a sudden I really relaxed into myself, and I was like, oh, wow, this is nice. And then I remember hearing like men to the left of me mumbling, and I thought, who's that? And I knew it was 3 men to the side of me, but for some reason I couldn't turn my head to have a look. So I was trying to arc my ear to listen to what was being said, and I couldn't make out what was being said. And then in my head I thought, that's my neighbour. He's going to know that I'm being attacked by Shane, and he's going to come and rescue me. And as soon as I thought that, all of a sudden my legs got pulled up to like a 45-degree angle like that. And all of a sudden my legs started being pulled like on a magnet. And then next thing you know, in my body, I felt my body go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times like that. And all of a sudden I opened my eyes. Even though I didn't know I was blind, I was conscious. I was, and I didn't realise that I just basically passed over. I didn't even realise that. It wasn't until after, when I was telling my story, I realised what that was.
Tina, you're saying that you're blind. For any of the viewers that are not aware of your story, what had he done to you?
Basically, what he had done is, when I was sleeping, I don't remember him coming up the stairs or anything. He'd come into the room, he'd put me through my bed, because all my slats on my bed was actually broken and put through. He'd come in, he'd beaten me unconscious. My head was twice the size of what it should have been, broken nose, broken jaw. And basically, when I was unconscious, he gouged my eyes out with his bare thumbs. I didn't know that I was blind until basically on that third time that I come back round after he'd knocked me unconscious. When I come back round, I knew that he was trying to kill me then. That is when I knew what he was doing. And I stretched my foot really out far and I had these plastic boxes at the end of my bed, out to the side of my bed. And I managed to kick my foot on one of these side boxes on my bed, which then he came in to strangle me again on the fourth time. And as I'm trying to lever myself up out of this duvet, he's gone to strangle me again. But this time he's lost his balance and kind of fell on top of me. And I've managed to turn my head to the side like that. And as I've done that and pushed at the same time, I've popped my head up out of the duvet. And that is the first time I've managed to get a gasp of air. And I took the biggest gasp of air in and I went, "Shane, I'm sorry, I love you." That came out of my mouth so quick, and that was the first words that I said. As soon as I said that, he ripped the duvet off me, and I was still lying down at that point. And then as I was sat up, he told me, as I was sitting up, "Your eyes are hanging out your head, you're blind, you're never going to see your children again, and this is all your fault." And as he's told me that, I've sat up on the side of my bed, and then I felt my cheek like that, and my eyeball was down here, resting on my cheek. So I quickly stood up in shock, and I was like, "Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God." And I didn't even realise that I was even blind in the right eye. That eye was out here. You don't imagine that your eye could swell up that much, but it did. It was out here, so swollen. So I quickly fumbled my way around the edge of the bed and come out of my bedroom, and he was in front of me. And I sat down on the top of the stairs, and as I've gone down each stairs, I was on my bum, going down each step at a time. And as I got down to the bottom, he's picked me up like a baby, like carrying me like a baby like that. And he's took me straight into the bathroom, which was downstairs next to my kitchen. And as he's took me into the bathroom, he's literally, all I had on as well was a bra around my waist, but I went to bed with my clothes on, so I don't know what happened. And as he's taken me into the bathroom, he's held me out like that, and I didn't know what he was doing, and he literally dropped me. And he dropped me into a bath deep of cold water that was filled up to the top. My head went under, and the shock that went through my eyes and the pain and everything, because my head went under, and when I come up, I spewed straight away. And I spewed up everywhere, and I actually think that was what stopped him from drowning me. Because
goodness me.
I think he's either shocked by the fact that I spewed up, or he didn't want to get sick all over him.
And Tina, he actually he kept you hostage for 12 hours. He wouldn't get you any help. No. So then if we focus, I mean, I can't even imagine, I'm so sorry, and I know that I will echo the feelings and thoughts of all of my viewers. It is appalling what you've been through. We're so sorry that you've experienced that. And those words that you've just said, when he says, "You're never going to see your children again, and it's your fault." I mean, I can't even, as a mummy myself, I can't imagine what that must have felt like. And I want to tell you, on behalf of everyone watching this, none of this was your fault. I can assure you of that. So tell me then, when it came to your sight then, have your eyes recovered? Can you see anything anymore or not?
I haven't got any eyes. These are glass eyes. They're not even real. They're glass. I had both my eyes removed. So basically, when I got taken into the hospital, they gave me morphine, and I didn't really know what was going on. I didn't know the police was around me in my room, taking on my fingernail clippings and scrapings. I didn't know nothing. I was out of it. The only thing that I do remember is a nurse started screaming, "Shane, no, no, Shane, no, no." And I thought that he'd come to the hospital and he was going to finish me off. And even though I had the police all there standing there saying, "Tina, no, 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 it's not him," I didn't care. I quickly grabbed hold of my hospital blankets and I dove underneath my bed like that, and I was trying to hide. And I was thinking, even the police can't stop him. He's coming to get me. He's going to finish me off. And that's the only memory that I really had. They took my mum into a side room, and my mum kind of said to the doctors, "Why are you not operating on her eyes?" And they said, "Mandy," that's my mum, they said, "her eyes are gone. We don't care about her eyes. That's not what we're bothered about. We're scared she's got brain damage." And that's why they took 12 hours to operate on me. When I got to hospital, I was just sedated and in and out of consciousness, pulling off these bandages off my face. I didn't even know what was going on. And as soon as I come out of theatre, that was the first time I was able to talk. And my two sisters were there, Tracy and Rachel. And the first thing out of my mouth, because I couldn't speak up until then, because they'd given me morphine, the first thing out of my mouth was, this is going to take me 7 to 10 years to come to terms with this. And I didn't know why I knew that, I just knew. But 14 years on nearly, and I still haven't come to terms with this.
I mean, I think that's totally understandable.
Yeah.
How old were you? You've got 2 children. How old were your children when all of this happened?
My oldest, he was 13, and my youngest had just turned 3, literally about 2 weeks before. He'd just turned 3. So yeah, my youngest was very young. Yeah.
My heart breaks for you that he, this horrendous individual, he made it so that the last face you saw was his. I mean, let's focus on this man. Shane Jenkin is a man that's got, quite an extensive previous criminal record, and in relation to the barbaric, horrendous. I mean, I'm so sorry. It almost makes me lost for words what you've gone through, and I'm just so sorry that this has happened to you. And he was sent to prison, wasn't he? He got a life sentence.
Yeah. With a minimum, of 6 years minimum term.
And that was in 2012.
It was, and the judge said that he had to prove himself fit on a landing for 6 years with no medical intervention before he is even accepted to be allowed out on the streets. This has not happened.
So tell us what has happened.
Basically, for 11 years, he was in maximum category A prison he had a hybrid sentence, which is a hospital order on top of a prison sentence, which meant that any time that this man showed any signs of any mental health, he can be removed straight away from the prison and put straight away into the hospital, which means he hasn't got to wait months like any other prisoner to get in to wait to see mental health. He's that dangerous, he'll get put in there straight away. I'm not being funny, within like a year and a half of him being sentenced, I got a phone call from my domestic violence officer, Lara, to tell me that there's going to be another story going in the paper because Shane has been involved in the mental hospital for 4 months, abusing a man, sticking pins in this man's genitals and nipples. It was put in the paper and nothing came of it. It got swept under the carpet. So he hasn't even behaved himself whilst he's been in there.
Goodness me. And am I right now in thinking, Tina, that he's essentially in what most people would know to be an open prison?
Yeah, he's in Cat D. Yeah, he got moved on the 20th of February this year. And he won his parole board on the 12th of November 2024 last year, and he got moved on the 20th of February to open Cat D conditions. I didn't even know that he'd even been moved to Cat B conditions when I found out on the November the 12th. Because when they told me, my victim contact liaison officer rang me and said that he's just been awarded Cat D, and I went, excuse me? I said, what about Cat B? And she said, he's been in there for a year and a half, and I went, pardon? I said, and no one's even told me. She said, that's the thing, we don't need to tell you when he's being moved categories. We don't have to tell. I said, excuse me. I said, I didn't even know that he could have even been messaging me or anything. I wouldn't have even had a clue.
And for anyone that's not familiar, for anyone that's not familiar, Tina, basically this open prison facility that he's in, and correct me if I'm wrong, my understanding is that he's could potentially even be allowed out to go and do various forms of paid work. If he's got a family member that's seriously ill, he would be permitted to have leave and go and do that. Is my understanding correct?
Yes, and all his family lives in Penzance, exactly where I live.
Goodness me. Now, in terms of when this person is going to be released, do you know when that's going to be, Tina?
Haven't got a clue. That's why I'm fighting because I wasn't told about the Cat B conditions and just being told with the Cat D that he's got Cat D conditions. I'm actually working with a lady called Laura Richards, who's a behavioural analyst, an expert, and she believes, like I believe, that this man has not had a psychopathy assessment for for being a psychopath, and that's why we want to actually have him put back to make sure that he has been properly assessed, and we don't feel he has been.
Sure. And what would you like to happen next? You just mentioned one thing there. What would you like to see? What kind of change? Well, let's focus specifically on Shane at first. What would you want to happen next there?
He should not be getting out. With his history and what he's done to previous people before he's even done anything to me, this man should not be allowed out on the streets. I don't know how he slipped the net here. I know they're trying to make room for people in prison because there's an overcrowdment, but this is not a normal prisoner. This man has completely ruined my life. And when he gets out, he will hurt somebody again because this is him. This is all he does. He's not shown any victim empathy for 11 years, but as soon as he's been moved, now all of a sudden he started showing empathy towards his victim. That is, I don't believe in one bit. I believe that this man should be put back to where he should be and properly assessed. And he should not be coming out like I was promised when he went to court. He will not be coming out unless he is terminally ill or he's a geriatric and he cannot hurt anybody else.
And the judge,
when he was in his 40s, coming out.
When the judge sentenced him, Tina, the judge actually said, and I quote, "He's a dangerous man from whom the public must be kept safe." Do you feel afraid about the thought of him coming out?
The amount of policemen that had to surround the dock because this man was such a danger, even though he's behind glass cabinets. I've never seen anything like it, even though I couldn't see it. I was being told. So he's a very big risk to the public, and I'm very surprised that this is happening. And the fact is now that I've got to speak out. After 10 years of trying to get my life back together and staying quiet, I can't believe I'm being put through this again, that I've got to fight to make sure that this man doesn't hurt anybody else and try to hurt me again.
And I mean, you're one of the strongest ladies I've ever encountered. I'm in awe listening to your story. What is your life like day to day now?
Crap. I'm just being honest. I'm a recluse. I don't go out. I hardly go out. I probably go out like maybe 2-3 times a year, maybe once to the shops or somewhere. That's it. I hardly go out. I just stay in my house. All the stuff that I used to enjoy doing before is, I'm a changed person. I'm a completely changed person. I've got really no interest apart from my family and my children and my close friends. I've really got no interests in life.
I'm struggling. Sorry to hear that. I'm so sorry to hear that.
I'm waiting to go into a trauma rehab, and I've been waiting for a whole year. And I've just found out on Friday that I've been given my application and it's been accepted, even though I've been waiting a whole year for this to get off the last little bit of medication that I'm on, and to deal with hopefully the trauma that's left behind. Because what I'm masking, I'm too scared to come off the last little bit of medication. Whilst that man has been in there getting every single bit of help that he needs, I've had to beg for what I've had, and all I've had is a little bit of counselling. That's all I've had.
Oh, I'm so sorry, Tina. And how are your children? How old are your children now?
My oldest, he's 27, and my youngest is 17.
And how do they deal with this?
Well, my oldest, he doesn't live at home anymore. He left home at 19 and went off to university, and he's been living his life and getting on with it. But he did really well. Like, he's thrived through it. That was the thing. The Children's Social Service was, at the time this happened, was trying to make my children become young carers. And I said, over my dead body, I said, my children, I said, I'm their mother. I'm here to look after them. They're not here to look after me. I'm not having it. But they was persistent and kept trying me all the time to get my children to be young carers, and I was not having that. They deserve their childhood. They're not here to look after me.
You're a remarkable woman.
And I wouldn't do that to my kids. I couldn't do it.
You've got petitions as well, in terms of, I'm thinking about any of the viewers, because I'm sure the viewers will be moved by your story. So let's talk about the petitions that you've got going at the moment. What you're petitioning for?
I'm involved in 2 petitions. So there's one that I don't release Shane Jenkins. That is the petition that the signatures are going up every single day, and just trying to stop him from being released from prison. So there's that one, and if anyone could sign and share, I'd be very grateful. And there's also another petition that I'm involved with a woman called Laura Richards, and basically it's to bring in a domestic violence register with a stalker register that includes stalking and coercive control and all that sort of stuff. You know, I was involved in help bring in Clare's Law. I did a documentary for Dispatches, Do You Know Your Partner's Past, in which I was involved in the pilot scheme. Which is brilliant. You know, people can go and ask for a disclosure on their partner, or a family member can go and ask to find out who this person is and their past, if they have a past. But I do believe that there should be more. Like this domestic violence register, I think this is so important, because these people, like the sexual violence register, should be named and shamed and put on this register, which means there are restrictions that come along with being put on this register, and which also means when that perpetrator tries to get involved in a new relationship, the person that they are involved with will be told whether they like it or not, their history. And then it'll be up to them whether or not they decide to stay in that relationship. But at least they have the information, which is something I never had.
And I think this is a key point. When you love somebody, you want to see the best in them. And I've read your story, and I know that you describe yourself as someone that was in a vulnerable place when Shane came into your life, and he obviously became aware of that and tapped into it. And all of us, every single one of us, Tina, ultimately, we want to be loved, don't we? And when somebody's showing us that attention and making us feel good about ourselves and telling you, don't listen to that, it's, you know, they're just stitching me up and it's not what you believe
That
them.
is basically what he was doing. So I was having after he first beat me up, and he got arrested for that. I didn't see him for 5 weeks, and then he turned up on my doorstep, and I was that shocked that he was on my doorstep. I didn't know what to do. I just kind of let him in. And then I sat there, I questioned why he beat me up, and then he sat there saying, why are you saying this to me? Am I being set up? And I remember lying in bed next to him that night, and whilst he was fast asleep, I sat there crying my eyes out thinking, what a mug am I? I'm such a mug.
You're
I was
not
still
a mug.
sat there in shell shock, knowing that this man had beat me up the first time. He cheated on me with one of my friends, and I was the one that got a beating for that. And that really changed me inside. It did something to me. It really changed me. And that was the first time. This man, if you had an argument with him, if you went to walk away from that argument, he would come up behind you. He'd put me in a sleeper hold and knock me unconscious within seconds. I've been brought round with this man giving me life to life. The amount of attacks this man has done on me is unbearable. He's made me lose everything. He's put all my stuff through, my windows, my car, my DJ decks, my TV. He smashed everything up. That's kind of like, it's took me a long time to get. For me and my children, he's taken everything from me. Every single attack that he's done on me has took a bit more and more and more of my soul. And when the Children's Social Services was involved, and I was asking them, why is this man dangerous? What is his past? Please tell me. They wouldn't tell me nothing, even though they was threatening me with my children. So when I was going back and telling him, they was like, they can't tell you anything because they've got nothing on me. And I think that was really unfair, you know. So that's why I got involved with the Clare's Law, Do You Know Your Partner's Past, to help highlight that people can go and find out now, unlike I couldn't back then.
And Tina, what advice, because there will be women and there will also be men that are watching this who are being abused, and they will be in the situation that you were, where, I don't know, they think it's their fault, they're frightened, they're confused, they ultimately love their partner, they don't know what to do. What advice would you give anyone that's currently a victim of this?
I don't want to sound cliche, because I know this is what everybody says, get up and leave, run away, don't go back. Easier said than done. When you love somebody, and, you know, there has been coercive control throughout that relationship, and you've kind of lost yourself in a way. Give yourself time to plan what you're going to do. Reach out to the authorities. Speak to your family and friends. Do not suffer in silence. Reach out. Ask the questions. Ask who you are with. You need to know this for your own safety, because if you've got any idea or maybe an inkling that the person that you're with could be dangerous, I think you do really need to go and ask the questions, because you can find out now. Clare's Law. Hopefully, if we help to bring this domestic violence register in, there'll be more ways to find out. And that's what I'm hopeful for. I just don't want anybody going through what I've gone through, because trust me, no relationship is worth it. I'm lucky to be here. The amount of stress that I've put my family and my children through what's happened to me is unbelievable. The knock-on effect, the ripple effect, it doesn't just affect the person that's going through it. It affects the family, it affects the friends, the kids, everything.
And one of the tragedies, you mentioned your kids, one of the absolute tragedies of this story, as we've just discussed, you can't see. And Shane Jenkins said to you that you'll never see your kids again, and it makes me feel so upset, and it sickens me, because he was right. You never did see your children again. And
I've never got to see them grow up, even though they have thrived, and I've made sure that they have thrived. I've not seen my boys grow up, and that is heartbreaking for me. I still remember their little faces as the age that they was.
It's so sad. Yeah. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry for all of your experiences. I can't imagine what it must be like now.
It's been very hard, very hard.
But you're doing remarkably well, and the fact that you're trying to help other people, I think it's so inspirational. And I also just want to take a second as well, because I know that you have a GoFundMe. I know life's not easy for you. If anyone wants to support you in that way, where do they find your GoFundMe, Tina?
It's on the GoFundMe page. Basically, it's on there, and I got asked to set the fundraiser up because I need, with him going to be open to cat deconditions, you know, there's a chance that he'll be coming back to Cornwall. I need to strengthen my house up to make sure that everything's safe. I am looking into moving, to be honest with you, but I think that's so unfair, because I know this house, it's taken to go into another house. I'm going to be headbutting walls, walking into doors, all sorts of things. It's going to take me a very long time to get to know another house. I'm also looking for like these reading glasses. They're not normal glasses, obviously. They're like AI. So you put them on and they've got like a little earpiece in the armband, so it talks to you, I do believe.
Wow.
And it'll read menu. So if I look at something, it can read a menu to me. Stuff that people take for granted. Opening up their post, looking at something in their wardrobe and seeing what colour is. Even looking out the sky and saying it was a blue sky today. Stuff that people take for granted. Little things like that. It will just give me massive independence, a bit more independence. That's what I need. I'm not trained with a guide dog or a stick, because I was quite stubborn when this happened to me. And here I am 14 years on, I'm still not trained. And I don't think I ever will be trained, because I'm too scared to go out on my own. I'll never go out on my own, and I know I won't. That's the thing. So there's no point in me training and having a guide dog here that I'm not going to be able to exercise and take out every day, because I know I won't do it.
I'm so sorry about what he's taken from you. And Tina, I wish you all the very, very best. I'm going to put all of the links to everything. You can find the links so anyone can get involved and help support your petitions, and contribute to your GoFundMe as well, if that's what they wish to do. But I wish you, Tina Nash, you are an inspiration. I want to say thank you to you for sharing your story with all of us. It's really moved me, and I know it'll move all of my viewers. So thank you, and I wish you, Tina, I wish that one day you do manage to find happiness again. I'm absolutely rooting for you, and in the meantime, you're an inspiration trying to help other women and other men that are experiencing this as well. God bless you. Thank you, Tina.
Thank you. God bless you. Thank you.
And the Ministry of Justice have issued a statement in response to Tina's words. They say this was a horrific crime and our thoughts remain with Miss Nash. Life sentence prisoners must pass a robust risk assessment before any move to open conditions, and we do not hesitate to move them back to closed prisons if they break the rules. Many of you watching this will be completely moved by this story, and I know that many of you, unfortunately, will also be experiencing domestic violence. And I just want to say, if you are, I know how frightening and confusing it can be, but I promise you, you can get out of your situation. Help is available. You can contact, if you're a woman, you can contact Women's Aid. Go to womensaid.org.uk. That's womensaid.org.uk. And if you're a man experiencing this, you can also reach out for help. You can go to mankind.org.uk. That's mankind.org.uk. I wish all of you the very, very best.